Hello, everyone. Welcome to Power Query 101. As you're coming in and getting situated, there's an important link you need to go to. So if you go ahead and go to this link you see on the screen, which is analytics@asu.edu, training pages power-query-101, that will give you what you need to get started as we get going. So go ahead and get that open. The thing you're going to want to open for sure is the labs. That's a PDF document. You can either open it in your browser or you can download it, however you like. We do have a lot to cover today. So I'm going to just get started to mostly talk about the logistics. And as people continue to join, we'll add this link again so everyone can get started. So as I said, this is Power Query 101. This is our first attempt to do this. If any of you maybe attended last year's session that we did our very first in-person training, which that was a challenge. We had almost 200 people, but this year we're going to try to do it virtually. So there will be some easier things and then there will be some harder things. So this session, we're going to have some very brief demos and explanations. And then I'm going to give you time to do the labs. The labs can be found, here's that link again on the analytics page, so that you can either download or have your own copy. If you have multiple monitors, that'll be great. You can have the labs open on one monitor and then you can follow along. You are going to need Excel and this lab to be open. If you don't have multiple monitors, you can always adjust your windows so they can be kind of side by side. That will help you. When the time is given for labs, at that point, if you have any questions, feel free, go off mute. You can ask me and I'm happy to answer. I'm going to kind of follow along on the labs so that if I need to show something, I can. If you don't feel comfortable asking in front of everyone, first I want to say, chances are if you have that question, someone else does too. So it's always good to ask. But if you don't feel comfortable asking in front of everyone and you might need a little more one-on-one help, let us know that. You can either say that in the chat or you can go on mute. And what we'll do is we'll send you to a breakout room with one of our wonderful helpers, who today we have Bob Sukavan and Stephen White are here to help. And also, I believe we have Dixon Ricker here to help us for a little while, probably not the second half. So let us know. We'll get you out to a breakout room because we want to make sure everyone's able to do what they want. We'll give each time for labs. If we find we need to shorten it a little, we can. If we need to go a little longer, we can as well. If you do have a Mac, this Excel, Power Query does not work in Excel for Macs. So what we've done is we have a Mac edition version for the lab. I will tell you that some of this was thrown together last minute because it was a whole nother class. So there is that lab, you would want that Mac edition. You won't be able to do the map 3D when we get to that, but you should be able to do the other labs. They just might be slightly different. So you will need the Citrix receiver, which is an admin app. So if you have a Mac, you may want to kind of start on that just as we're kind of going, so you can get that installed and hopefully everything will go well. That's one of the greatest challenges about doing these trainings is you all have different software out there. I have accounted in the labs for versions of Excel 2016 and 2019. If you do have Excel version 2013, you could do the Mac edition. A lot of that is for that because it is out on admin app. So that's going to be the logistics. Are there any questions anyone has? And I see Stephen put that link. Okay, good, Kathy. I'm glad you were able to get in. You will have to authenticate. All right, well, let's get started. We have a lot. So also on your in your lab, there's a pre-lab A on page 5, and you'll want to make sure you have Power Query. You should. This is very rarely. It now comes with almost every version, but that'll be the first thing you'll want to do. So what we're going to do is a brief introduction to kind of what Power Query is. We're going to do some demos, and then we'll do labs, and those will kind of be going through, and then we'll have some time for questions at the end. But again, please ask questions as we go. If we get to a point, this is being recorded. And also, if you get to a point where you need to leave or you can't finish, you can always come back. And now you have that lab. You can always do this at your own pace anytime. So introduction to what is Power Query. Power Query is Microsoft's data connectivity and data preparation technology that's really part of Excel. And it's amazing to me how many people don't know it exists. It actually is a separate piece of Excel, but you get to it through Excel. It allows you to connect to hundreds of data sources, although while it lists databases and data warehouses, we do not, if you're using Excel on your machine, you will not be able to connect to the data warehouse, but you will be able to connect to other data sets, and we'll talk a little about what that means. It's accessible, powerful, smart data preparation, letting you clean up data, and no coding is needed. There's also a link if you wanted to go learn more about Power Query. So a lot of questions people might ask, do I need a BI desktop for this? No, you do not. You can do this from your own desktop. You can, though, if you do have a BI desktop, you could do this and you then could connect to the data warehouse and other tools. But if you're on your regular machine, you would not be able to connect to that. Can you connect to the data warehouse? No, unless you have a BI desktop, which is an Amazon workspace that has those connections configured. And if you'd like, under ServiceNow, if you type in analytics, then you could then request a BI desktop if you'd like. So what is a data set? We're going to be talking about data sets, and we're going to be using data sets. And so what is a data set? It is a curated set of data, much like a report, that gives you data that's clean and easy to use. It's basically just some columns and some rows, like you might see in a table in Excel, and it's going to allow you to pull in information and change it and tweak it to how you want it. Can you share your files? So if you create a file out here connecting to a data set that we'll kind of go over, and you wanted to share it with someone else, you can. Depending on the data set you use and how you accessed it, there could be permissions involved. So when you share it to someone, they would also need permissions to that data. And that's how we ensure that our data trustees and all the permissions and the integrity of that data is maintained. But you can share the file and anyone else could use it then. And do you have to go to the portal? We're going to show you ways to go to our portal. That link that I sent you is part of our analytics portal. You don't have to go there every time. Once you have an Excel file that is connected to some data, you don't have to go back to the portal. You can just refresh your Excel file. And where would you find some of these data sets that we've talked about? And I'm going to show you some examples. I have two links in here. The first one is what we're calling DASH, the Data Analytics Success Hub. This link right now, we're still working on it, and so this is still a work in progress, but I want you to have that link so that as we do add data sets, you'll be ready and able to do this. Also, calibra.com, asu.calibra.com is where we're going to be putting all of this information as well. But today, we won't be needing those. So there's a lot of terminology here. This is all written and it is in your lab. Just a couple of things I wanted to highlight. The analytics portal, analytics.asu.edu, is a website written in Drupal, which is a central hub to all things analytics. So if you ever need data of any kind, that's a great place to go. Also, I don't have slides in here, but if you ever have a question and want to reach someone in our data success team, which I forgot to introduce myself, I'm Kristin Kennedy, part of the data success team. There's a Slack channel, ask_analytics. Go there, ask us any question, and someone will be in touch with you. Another thing I wanted is Dash, which is our new hub of data sets that can be used with Power Query. So data sets are much like pre-built queries in my reports. If you used it before, these are files that are saved, and it allows you to get access to the data using Power Query in Excel. If you're someone who used to use my reports or still uses my reports today, you just kind of go in, you tweak the data a little bit, and you get what you want. You download it to Excel and you make your report, then Power Query and Dash is the perfect solution for you. And that's what we would encourage you to do as you transition out of my reports as we get ready to shut it down. We are still building. We're going to be reliant on a lot of our users throughout the community who build these data sets. The Admissions Master List, for example, if you've used that, Ruben Minton and Troy Buchanan, they've worked hard to get that out there. Enrollment data from the registrar's office, that's out there. I see Chris Smith, who does so much great work. So we want to make those data sets available to you but they have a lot on their plate and a lot to do. So they're working really hard. We're all working really hard to make sure that people can get the data that they need. And as you see, there's those links again. So the first thing we're going to do in our lab is we're going to connect an open Power Query and make sure we can connect, make sure we can go. So we're going to connect to the data set. We're going to connect through the web unless you're using, well, you're going to go out to the page to get the data set. If you are using the Mac for now, you're going to download the data, but otherwise you're going to use the link. It does not require drivers or anything to be installed on your machine. It's open to the internet, but you do have to authenticate. So you're going to be going to our portal, to this page. There's a list of data sets. It'll tell you in the lab which one you use when and how to use it. This is that page. It's prettied up a little bit. You're going to look at whichever data set it tells you to use. This data set, by the way, is about education, but it is it's a census data set, so it's not anything ASU. It is difficult in these trainings to know who has access to what, so that's where that is helpful. When you see the link you want, you're going to right-click over it, and you're going to choose Copy Link Address, unless you're doing the Mac and you'll be clicking on it, left click. We're going to use Power Query, so it's just simply part of Excel. In 2016, you're going to see New Query under Data, and that's how you'll get to it. If it's 2019, it's just there. We're going to do New Query from web, from other sources from web. We're going to paste in that link that you copied. We might have to sign in. That would just be your ASU right and your password to sign in. You'll be choosing organizational account, and you're going to click Connect. Again, the Mac will be a little bit different. It'll be laid out. We're going to click on Edit. It's going to get us in. And now here we're going to be able to use all these tools. So, so when you go to the page, Ashley, you don't see institution details. In 2019, there will be a screenshot in the lab that shows what it looks like. It doesn't say New Query, it's just get data. But Ashley, you don't see the institution details? Or this link directly? Okay, good. Cool. Okay, Ashley, we'll get you. Okay, yeah, that's the link to the data. Okay. So let's get started. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to put an alarm so that we all know how long. So, I didn't want it that big. All right, so let's get started. We have 10 minutes again. Please ask questions, go off mute. I'm perfectly happy. In fact, it'll be nice to hear from you guys because otherwise I just feel like I'm out in a world of myself. So go ahead.
It sounds like quite a few of us are getting access forbidden. I know I just closed back out. Yeah, there's quite a few of us. So I just closed back out again. I don't know if there's another thing that we should be checking on. I'm assuming it's because I know I said it anonymous, but that maybe have screwed me up. But I think there's a step that we're missing.
So you do need to make sure you click on the organizational account. I will show you one way to get yourself logged in. This is the 2016 version. If you click under File and it says Account, this won't work for the Mac. You should see yourself logged in. If you don't, there should be a link here that says Sign In. And if you click on that, you should be able to sign in.
That I'm, ooh, I gotta change my sign in.
And thank you, Joshua, saying we can clear the save setting and get data source settings. That might let you try it again if you accidentally. So you're logged in, but still getting the error. Okay. So let me just, we'll go through it. We're going to do new query from other sources from web. We're going to, we're going to right click on institutional details, say copy link address. We're going to paste it here. Say okay. Now, since I was logged in, I didn't get that. But if you want to click on the edit. So if we go to recent sources, the ones we did, if you see if we can, if we remove it from the list, we could try again. If it's not working, you might see I connect a lot. So you might only see one, and that's good. And that was under recent sources. So that would tell you where you tried to connect. Is that working for people? My chat went away. I love Zoom. Does anyone who it wasn't working for want to tell me? Did it work, or is it still not working?
Mine is still not working, but I have a feeling it's that I have not, I changed my account. It has me logged in as my account, but I was not VPN'd in. So it was trying, it's the first time I've opened a Microsoft, but it's the first time I've opened a Microsoft application software. So it has to apparently set up a little bit more intricately. So I'll keep playing with it.
All right, let us know. We can go into we can send you to a breakout room and look specifically at what you're doing, if that would help.
Let's, can we do that? Can we send me there? Just to make sure I get not too far behind.
Sure. Steven, you want to go? And Kelly, you want to
Sure.
make that happen?
And to clarify, there's no VPN needed for this.
Right. Yeah. Thanks.
Can I go in a breakout room as well?
Do you want to join the
Yeah,
same breakout room, or do you want to, you're separate?
No, that's fine. I can go in the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still struggling to get into the system, to get into how to get to Power Query.
Neff, why don't we, Rob, do you want to take Neff? Maybe Kelly split up. If you want to go into one of the breakout sessions, maybe put your name in the chat, and Kelly maybe split them between like Bob and Steven and Dixon too.
Ooh. We're getting a lot of breakouts. We're
All right.
I think we have enough people that it might make sense to just try to
stay here.
Get through it here.
So I was able to get logged in. My name's David. So I got the same forbidden error. If you click on, I think it's institutional login, in that same screen, instead of anonymous, drop down to institutional, connect to the SharePoint. Then it will let you then we'll give you access to the data.
Is it institutional or organizational?
Organizational. I don't have that page up anymore. But so if you log into that and connect, it's a couple of steps, then you get access to it.
Okay, let me see if I can log out and do it again. Show that screen. Thank you.
I have a quick question. So in the analytics ASU screen where we're clicking to right click the institutional details link, if we click that link, it just downloads the Excel document to my computer and I can click it open. Is that enough to, can I work with it that way? Or do I have, because I'm having trouble opening it by going into the new query
Yes.
web?
Yes, that's a good point, and that'll get us going. That's great, thank you. So if you, what you could do is download that to anywhere, keep it in your downloads. If you go to new queries, instead of choosing from other sources from web, do from file, from CSV. And when you click on that, then you can go find that file, and it should probably be in your downloads. And this is what the people on the Mac, you should see it there. I don't see it here because I'm on a different screen, but you should see it in your downloads, and then you can use it. And then from then on, everything should be the same. So thank you very much for bringing up. That's a great solution. So again, that's new query from file from CSV. So if you're not able to use the link, go ahead and just click on the link, left click, and it will just automatically download that CSV. The main reason I just want to say that the link is better is because a lot of these CSVs and these data sets that we're going to put out there, we're going to be refreshing on a daily basis. So ideally, you want to be able to connect through the web, and the reason for that is because then from your Excel, you can refresh and you get up-to-date data. Whereas when you download it, you would have to go out and download it again and load it there, and then when you refresh, you could do that. So it's an extra step that you'll have to go through. But for today, that'll work perfectly. So for anyone who really wasn't able to connect, if we can't get you connected today, definitely maybe set up a consultation hour and we can work with you. Okay, well, I'm gonna move on. If anyone's still stuck, like I said, we're happy to go to the breakout room to help you move along, because the next phase, we're actually gonna start doing some work on our data set. So we're going to go over some basic features in this section. All right, so in this one, we're going to do, at one point, Excel called this get and transform. So we are going to choose columns. A lot of times, the idea here is that these data sets are going to have a bunch of columns, and you may only want 10 of them. There might, like if you've ever looked at the master list, there's 300 columns. That's a lot of data, and you don't always need all those columns. So we're going to let you choose your columns so you know which ones you want. We're going to rename our query so it makes a little more sense. We're going to split up a column. If you've ever collected data where it's all like, maybe it's their ASU right at asu.edu, and you just want the ASU right out of there, we're going to split that column at that delimiter so that we can make new data that's a little bit cleaner. We're going to rename our column. We're going to replace values. Sometimes you want, anywhere it says this, we want it to say that, and we're going to do that. We're going to use our first row as headers. Sometimes you pull in a CSV and you want to get that first row up there. We're going to change our data types. A lot of times, if you've ever worked with term or info ID, it makes it a number and then you lose your zero. So you got to change it to a string field. So that's a great tool to use. We're going to filter so we don't get all of it. Maybe you want the master list, but you only want your college or your department. You don't want the entire institution. We're going to sort. We're going to format some fields so it looks how we like. We're going to make a custom column that maybe combines two fields, just how we need it. So we're going to do lab 2. This one we're going to do 20 minutes. There's a lot that we need to do. We will, if we need more time, we'll do it if everybody's done early. And again, let us know if you have questions. From here on out, it should be pretty straightforward, but please let us know.
I have a question. Did these files, when I went to open the Excel new query, I couldn't open it the way you initially described, and I downloaded the CSV. I had originally saved it on my computer as an Excel workbook instead of a CSV, and it wouldn't let me do the new query. So does it have to be in CSV format?
It does not. It will look a little different, but you can do file from workbook, and that should open the Excel file. I don't know what's here, but you should be able to pick it, import. It just looks a little different when you get to this screen. You just click on the sheet, and then you would do the same edit.
Okay.
Kristin, I have a question. I'm
Okay.
wondering,
Okay.
you made a comment earlier that if we download the CSV file, then the data won't automatically update rather than going from the link. Is that accurate? So like we want to try to connect to a database. We don't want to really do the download.
So for the purpose of this class, there won't be any, it'll be fine to download. But the goal of this is, so let's say, for example, you were able to connect to the admissions master list through this same process I just showed you. You would want to connect through the web so that then you could refresh each day. You could still download if you had to, but then you'd have to go like download it each day and then refresh. So that just saves you an extra step. But for today's training, just downloading will be perfectly fine and you won't miss out on anything. And then what we can do is work with you maybe later to make sure you're able to connect to the OneDrive area.
Okay, so and if like I wanted to apply this to my college, I would need to create a OneDrive because we can't connect to the Redshift or anything like that, correct? Like
not from your desktop, no. But you won't need to create a OneDrive. The OneDrive is out. Usually there's going to be files already saved for you. If you have your own file already, then you can just download that as a file. It's more that file, like the master list, that's going to be refreshed each day so that you get up-to-date data. Does that make sense?
Sort of. So like, if we wanted to, let's say, refresh our data on the student population, you know, and we need to get a list of that from wherever, it's already going to be on the OneDrive, or do we need to put it on the OneDrive? That's, I guess.
You do not need to put it on the OneDrive. So if you get a file from someone, you can save that anywhere on your local machine, and then you can just import that in. And then if that file were going to get refreshed, if you put a new file named it the same thing and just overrode it with updated data, then you could just refresh and you'd get updated data in your Power Query.
And the filters would stay?
Yeah, whatever you put in is going to stay. And that's the power, that you spend all this time getting your data just how you want it, and now you're just going to refresh instead of having to go out, download it again, do all those things again. With the refresh, you only have to do it once.
But if we can't connect to a data source, we can't do the refresh, we have to do the download again.
Yeah.
And if we do the download,
we'll make sure you can do that download. I mean, the link. We'll make sure you can do that.
I'll add it to the list of things that I need help with.
Okay. But for today, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that tomorrow at 9:30, Stephen White, my teammate, is presenting on Dash. So if you've heard about Dash, or if you just use the data conference website to look forward to November 19th, the idea behind that is when you have all these nice clean data sets to connect to, what you're doing right now is, if you have this under your or in your tool belt, it's going to be great. We're just going to keep getting more and more certified or clean data sets for you to connect to. And yeah, that's why this session it's really important for you guys to also spread the word to your coworkers that this is going to be a nice way to connect to data in the future.
But if you haven't connected once, sometimes it's a matter of just kind of getting your machine configured, and we'll help you get that done. But that part will be easy once you've kind of learned Power Query. So, all right.
I'm going to close all the existing breakout rooms now, Kristin. It looks like Dixon and EE have left.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So next, we're going to move back to Excel. We're still going to do a little Power Query, but they are two separate products, even though they're part of the same. They are open in two windows. You've probably noticed that already. So we're going to do some stuff kind of in Excel, but we have to do a few steps, so we have a little bit more to do. So what we're going to do, we learned how to pull in one data, but we want to get a second one. You know, how great would it be if you could get the master list with maybe some data on enrollment and join those together. So that's one of the beauties of Power Query, aside from everything else, is that you don't have to just be focused on one data set at a time. You can actually merge together data from different areas. So we're going to do the merge. It's going to walk you through how to do that. And then we're going to do some Excel features. This is a class on Power Query, but there's some powerful things in Excel you may or may not know about. If you do, then that's great, but this could help you. So we're going to do tables. We're going to do slicers. That's a really powerful way to do filters. Easy to use. We're going to do a pivot table too, so we can kind of look at the data differently. So this one, hopefully you'll move a little quicker. Again, I mean, there's a lot in here, and I don't mean hopefully take the time you need, but we're going to go ahead and now move into Excel. So again, the Mac edition will be on a different page. How many Mac users do we have? Is there anyone out there? Thank you, Dixon. All right, so another great option for, oh, go ahead, Christy.
Sorry, out of curiosity, I'm finishing up lab 1 and then going to lab 2 because I was slightly delayed in that first step. When you go ahead and do custom columns and you're using the insert of the available columns, is there any difference between actually typing in the brackets and then the name of the available column versus using the insert button? Or does that coding wise do exactly the same thing?
It should do exactly the same thing. The only reason to sometimes use the available columns is in case you miss a space or anything, because it is picky, but yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, if it was long or something like, okay. I just wanted to make sure it does the same thing. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I was just gonna say another great example of where you might want to merge queries is, let's say you do want to pull up the master list or any source out there, and then you want to join it to your own list. Maybe you have a list of EMPL IDs of people you want to see if they were admitted in a certain term or something. That's another great use case for this as well.
One more question. Doing the close and load to finish up lab 2. If close and load 2 is grayed out, is that possibly because we're using the file downloaded? Or no?
It could be. Does it let you close and load but not choose where?
No, it's entirely, that option is entirely grayed out. You can close, or I can only close and load. I cannot close and load 2.
Yeah, I had a similar issue. For me, initially it gave me that option whether I downloaded or not. But if you had already saved and closed, in your case, you already have that data in another tab or in another sheet.
Right.
When you go back to edit it, you can't change it to a load 2 because you've already loaded.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay, right, Kristin? You can still continue with it and merge.
Yeah, the only difference, if you close and load, it's just going to actually download it into the Excel file. But you can just use another sheet, and so it's fine.
Okay.
Sometimes, like if you wanted to join 2 sets that are big, closing and doing it to a connection only is going to be better, because then you're not downloading the entire thing into your Excel file. But it's fine for this class just to do the close and load.
Okay.
And I want to stress to anyone out there, this is just using kind of not fake data. This is real data, but if you get to a point where you have a real life something you want to try this with, feel free to reach out to our team. Go to analytics.asu.edu, under support, say request consultation hours, and we'll walk you through your specific use case and scenario and help you to make that work. So we know that Training is always easy, well, somewhat, right? But when you have real life stuff, sometimes it's just different. So we're happy to help you in the future with those real life examples. Oh, yes, thank you, Arvin. When you do the merge, you are going to get a privacy levels dialog box. I knew there was something I missed. What you're going to want to do is pick organizational for both data sets and then just say, okay, I'll show that here. Okay, so if I go to combine queries, merge, I know their names would be different.
So yeah, right here, sometimes it spins for a while based on how many records there are.
Yeah, so it should kind of come back, and you can click OK before it fully does it if you want. So, of course, I didn't get that's why I didn't put it in when I did the training. So again, for the organizational level, let me find, I think I have it in the Mac edition. Let me open that.
Yeah, we selected unit ID for both queries. In this case, we're just joining on the one column, but if you were joining on multiple columns, you would select them all in order in both tables. You'll join on all the selected columns.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Let me find. And if the second's grayed out, that's okay. Then just select the one you have to on the privacy levels and then say, okay, should be fine.
Is there a way to like create something and push it to our analytics portal from here?
Yeah, so this is where you would want, so if you create a group in the portal, if you already have one of the things you get with it is a OneDrive folder that will get synced with the portal. So you could create, and we go over some things on how to even format it, and that's where slicers are good. So if you save it in that OneDrive folder, then it becomes part of the portal. Someone can see it, they can click on it, and it opens, and then they would get to it through the portal.
Cool.
So Samantha, if you have something you want to do that, just like do a consultation hour, we'll walk you through all that.
I'm adding a list for my consultation.
Okay.
Bob and I are good friends.
All right, good. That's what we like.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Yes, we're waiting for this.
Okay, so here's what it's going to look a little different, but this privacy level screen, I don't click ignore, that doesn't work. But if it's grayed out, then you don't need to worry about it. Only select the one that it is and say save. It should be fine. Another thing I will just show when you go to the Power Query page, you'll notice a star below the view. If you click on that star, then you'll be able to come back to this whenever you want. And we won't take it down. So when you get to the home page, you click on My Content, and then you should see that Power Query 101 right there. You can also do that with the Dash page. One thing you have about 2.5 minutes left. I also want to let you know that tomorrow we're going to do a little Power Query in the DIY data empowerment, where I will show how to connect Power Query to a Google Sheet. So if you had a Google Sheet people were updating, Power Query could also be used to connect to that. So if you're interested in that, you can either attend tomorrow or watch the recording, or that will also have labs, and those will be available out. There's a Power Query or a DIY data empowerment page for that one as well. Tom? All right. So let's stop. So the next phase is a little bit more fun. At the rate we're going, we may not have time to finish everything, but I can still stay if anyone wants to, or you guys have the labs now, and if anyone wants to try it on their own, and you can also Slack me if need be. But the next thing, we're going to talk a little bit about some fun and some functions and things that are kind of fun. We're going to go over 3D maps. This is pretty cool. This is not something necessarily to make it web-based, but these maps can be pretty powerful. If you wanted to show something maybe in a PowerPoint or something, you could do that. This section, the 3D maps, is not available to the version that is on admin apps. We're going to work on that though, so that it will be. So if you do have a Mac and that's something you want to do, let me know your name, and now I will let you know once we have a newer version out there. So we're going to do that. We're going to do some spark lines and some conditional formatting if we wanted something to be highlighted in green. If it meets a certain criteria, that's a good way to do that. And so this one is going to be about 20 minutes, which will put us to 11. So we're going to be close, but I think we can do it. So again, if you're on the Mac edition, you just can skip the 3D maps. That won't work, unfortunately. But so we will start now. So people that did ask if it was grayed out, that close and load to. I did find if you right click on the query here, you get the load to option here. And then you can tell it to just do a connection, and it'll say, are you sure you want to delete that? And you can say yes. Chad, I was getting that error too. I was in Excel. Are you in Excel 2016? Yeah, it's all there. Let me, it would be just our luck that Bing is down or something today.
Yeah, the error says 3D Maps encounter an error while contacting Microsoft Bing mapping services. Status.
Yeah. Are you on the BI desktop, or are you just on your regular machine?
BI desktop.
Okay. It could be that and this is what I'm guessing, because that's where I'm getting the error too. My guess is that we don't have the firewall open to being that way on the BI desktop. So I'm gonna make a note to add that.
Yeah, it does say cannot initialize DirectX.
Yeah, I love that error message. I mean, if you could save your Excel file that you've done so far into Dropbox or somewhere that you have on your local machine. Are you on a Mac or are you on
PC, Windows?
Okay. And then maybe open it on your machine.
Okay.
The file you've already created so you don't lose anything you've done. So I'm going to do it right now from my machine because I also got it on the BI desktop. Ervin, were you also on a BI desktop? Okay. So Rebecca and Joshua, hold on just a second.
Kristin, I was going to tell you, thank you. That worked by saving it and opening it on my desktop.
Okay.
Unfortunately, cool. I got something else now, but this has been very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me know if you have any trouble with the rest of the labs if you ever get a chance to finish them.
All right, we'll do, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let me do the fill down part. Okay, yeah, the map is working. I'm not on a BI desktop. Okay. Rebecca and Joshua, you guys are working far ahead. That's good. Let me get caught up. It is not cool. Well, that's annoying. All right, Rebecca, and yeah, if it's not you, Rebecca, I'm gonna do some investigating. It's always good to look at Google and say, why is it not working? And maybe someone has an answer. So I will send, I'll send this whole group if I can get this out of Zoom, but Joshua and Rebecca, I'll let you guys know. because it's actually a pretty cool feature when you get data like this. Let's see if it's a 2016 thing.
I guess the fill down looks for null values as opposed to blank values, so it might have gotten confused there.
Oh.
I'm not sure if those look different in that data preview.
Well, they do. So in my training, when you open it, you see nothing, but you do see nulls in there. So that could be why. Let me.
So you can do a replace to turn the blanks into nulls, and then the fill down might work.
Let's try it. I'm also now in 2019, so we'll see if that. Okay, this is. I don't think that's really null ready. Yeah, but I put the words no, I didn't. It doesn't work in 2019 either. So yeah, I'll find out. I'll tell you what I'll do too for everyone in this, if you haven't gotten to it. I'll go ahead and post something on the ASU Data Community channel. So just in case I can't get the list of everyone today. But if you really want to know, also Slack me and I will let you know. Let's see. Oh, we're over our time and we still have about 13 minutes. So we're going to go to lab 5, Power Query, next level. And for those that are still going, keep going where you're at. Like I said, I can stay longer. And I can also, if anyone ever needs to reach out to me, you can reach me on Slack. But in the advanced, we're going to do some group bys, some parameters, which aren't quite as exciting as they sound, but there are ways to do parameters, transpose, where you kind of take columns and make them rows, or vice versa, pivot columns, unpivot columns, count the rows, move columns, convert to a list. Sometimes you have things in a table and you want it not to be a table. That's how we do that. The fill, which we've just seen, won't work, so you can skip that part. And we have about 20 minutes, which should take us in. So feel free to finish if you want to move on. Thank you so much to everyone. I want to let you know, too, if you go out to the main, you can either go on that page that we've been using, the Power Query page. There is a link down at the bottom to this badge. So this class qualifies for that, the Data Tools badge. So feel free to go claim that. So you've slayed AirMill, the Titan of transformation. Also, don't forget to celebrate people who've helped you out or done things that, if you go to links.asu.edu/DC20 celebrations. So thank you, everyone, and thanks for your patience as we try to figure out all the fun challenges. And thank you to Stephen and Bob for all your help. And
No
Kelly.
problem.
Angela, if that Power Query page that we've been looking at would have it, or also the events, uto.asc.edu/event/data-conference. There are links there as well. But here's the link to the form to fill out to get that badge. You're welcome. We'll do, I think the 20 minutes puts us over, but like I said, if anyone needs to go, feel free, and